Hi, gang, it's Hexy. So, I'm going to try to give the VUCA Simulations folks some good looks at this wonderful games they sent me. And we started with Crossing the Line, Aachen. I already played the quick intro scenario with the 1st Infantry Division attacking. And then I started the campaign game, and I just finished turn one. I started 2 nights ago, and I played for probably an hour and a half on, was it Tuesday night? And then I came home this evening, took me a little nap because, the field marshal's got to have rest before he goes into command. And then got up and played here maybe for another 40 minutes and finished up turn one. Gotta love that box. Come on, man. A Sherman, a Panther, gotta love that box. So, okay. So it is initiative based with a die roll modifier, which the Americans seem to, on the first turn, have an automatic +1 because of the air interdiction. And then you have a counter that you flip. So if, get this out of the way here, if the Americans have the initiative, you have this counter right here that you flip it to the German side and you place it on the +2. So now the Germans will get a +2 modifier on the next initiative roll. All right, so when do you do initiative rolls? Well, you do an activation, and after the one side is done with its activation, then you roll for initiative to see who gets the next activation. Okay. During an activation, if a friendly unit moves adjacent to an enemy unit, the enemy unit formation can choose to do a reaction. And what they'll do is they'll roll on the action points table for whatever activation level they have, and then they'll drop one activation level, and they can do a reaction, which is just like being activated if you won the initiative against against the attacker. But like I say, remember, you're going to burn an activation level if you do that. I think that's a pretty cool system because you can be sitting there thinking, man, I've got plans for that unit. I don't want to burn them on a reaction, but I may need to stop that enemy unit, that enemy formation that's moving forward. So I think that's a great little system. All right, so if you roll for initiative and then the Germans win, then you flip this thing back over and you put it back. So you can go all the way up the chart. I doubt that'll ever happen. But then you come back down to +2. The only time it's on 0 is at the start of a new turn. All right, so after that, it's always on +2 through the rest of the turn. Now let's go back to looking at the game here. All right, so this is the 1st Infantry Division, 2nd Armored Division. Was it 5th and 8th Corps, I think, trying to take Aachen. You know what? We can get a better view right here, I think. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, so there's Aachen sitting right here. All right, 1st Infantry Division is driving on Aachen. 2nd AD starts back in here. They're all along this road here. All right, so my choice was, let's pull them down through here where the Germans have sort of sparse troops. Well, not so sparse anymore. All the PZ-4Hs and Stugs and some Panther units from, I think that's 9th Panzer. And what do we got? A couple elephants there, or Nashorns maybe, rolled down in here to stop this. So, and the interesting thing is the 2nd Armored Division got across. They got across the line here, and the Dragon's Teeth, and then 116th Panzer went and hit them. Now you'll notice that the strength on these Panzer units aren't very big, and the Shermans, or the mixed units or whatever, they've got 5s and whatnot. But they've got infantry support underneath, and then they had support from this unit here. They did not attack across the Dragon's Teeth. It stops right there. So they got a good die roll. Odds were okay when you draw your chits, which is this is an interesting take on the system. I mean, you played like SPI Operation Typhoon. You had A, B, and C or whatever I think it was, or 1, 2, and 3. I can't remember. Well, this one has them for different levels. Like if you're the attacker, the first column will be hasty. The second column will be a regular attack. And the third column would be will be a prepared attack. All right. Now it costs you 3 action points to do a prepared attack, so you really got to think that stuff out. That can change your whole formation activation if you choose. If you roll action points and you only get 3, and you decide to do a prepared attack, you better have everything in place because you're not getting any more action points unless you win. The winning unit will get 1 more action point, which I haven't really been much to doing it yet. I thought maybe that'd be a good exploit thing. Well, maybe if you got like 7 action points and you attack prepared right off the bat and you win, then that unit he's going to get that 1 extra action point plus the 4 that are still remaining. So there's 5 more action points you could burn with that same unit, okay? As long as doesn't get disrupted. So, and then if you're a defender on this chit, it goes, disrupted, regular defense, and then if you're in an improved position, an improved defense. And these are multipliers. You multiply the strength of the individual units by that number. So it's pretty cool. Well, not a Gauss, but you get a multiplier to, sometimes I've had these strengths tripled on these units, which is pretty cool. So don't be freaked out, and those things are random. So don't think that these 2 6s, which only one's going to attack, are going to overrun that 3 strength, because he might get a ×3 multiplier. He might not get but a 1. So next thing you know, you're attacking 6 to 9, all right? So that system works very well. The action point system, you've got movement. To move a unit or stack of units costs 1 action point. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Unless you're rolling 8, 9, and 10 on every action level or action point determination, most of the time I was only getting 1, 2, and 3 action points. Because the farther you come down your chart there, the farther you come down your activation levels, you'll see on this chart, the harder it is, because the top number there in the green is the current activation level for the formation, and then you roll your 10-sided dice. You see those 1s and 2s and 3s down. Once you get down below 4, you start getting very minimal, and you're not doing very much, which is cool, because if you were getting 7 all the time, this would be just a constant move and prepared attack, and that's probably not the way it happens. So 1 turn, I don't know. Don't have dates on the turn track. I have to look that one up. All right, so headquarters. Your headquarters units. Here is, third armored. All right, third armored headquarters unit. Okay. For that unit to move, they can only move to a town, city, or industrial hex. The orangey things are industrial. Aachen is a city. This is a town. You don't move them by movement points. You use action points, then you pick him up and move him. For this unit to move, this bottom right number here is his relocation, we'll call it. So you have to burn 3 action points to move him. So if you burn 3, you pick him up, move him to another town, city, or industrial hex. All right, that first number is his command range. That 15 on this guy, that's his command range. So he can reach out a long ways. But some of these other units, like the 116th Panzer unit here, he's only got a command range of 6. So I almost boo-booed and didn't have these guys in command. Now they're just barely in command range right here. All right, so I think, and then the second number in this thing here is their support. So if you're in command and you're doing a prepared attack or you're in an improved defense position, you can add that number as a die roll modifier to any defense or attack that matches the proper chart, like i.e. prepared attack. So 1st Infantry Division, for example, their headquarters, if any of their units are in a prepared attack and they're in command range, they're going to add a +6 die roll modifier, which is very good. And I thought when I looked at this combat chart, I was thinking to myself, man, you're going to constantly be getting, with 1st Infantry Division, you're going to be getting all of these die rolls down in here, where you're only rolling a 10-sided dice. So if you roll a 10 and you get a +6, you're only +16. Now that's a good number for that attack, which, by the way, is what the Germans had on their last attack. All right, so we're moving along. Command, initiative, air's abstracted in this game. You don't have to worry about that. They apply that by the die roll initiative, which I think is fine. I love to have close air support, but I think that's fine for this system. Artillery, you don't think about that either. You get support modifiers from, if this unit's attacking and he's got a friendly unit that's next to him that belongs to the same formation, if it's a prepared attack, he's going to get a +2 die roll modifier for that unit. All right. If there happened to be another one right here and there, he would also get a +2 for that hex for any units. Okay. If it's just a regular attack, you get a +1. If it's hasty, you're not going to get anything. And it works the same thing on defense. So if he's being attacked, he's got a unit next to him that's in the same formation. If he's in an improved position, he'll get +2 for him. Just an everyday defense, he's going to get a +1. All right, and then you don't get headquarters support on the defense. You do get unit support. No headquarters attack support. You get hex-side terrain, and then there's armor superiority. Armor superiority is pretty simple. Second number, yellow box. All right, that's armor. That's tank. Second number, white box, is anti-tank. Now, just because that says 0, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has zero ability, anti-tank ability, because on the terrain chart when you're doing combat, here's a modifier right here. So even if he has 0, if he's in a pillbox in dense forest and the anti-tank gets used, he'll get a +3 die roll modifier for that. Now, anti-tank cannot be used as the sole provider for armor superiority. There has to be tank involved. So if it's tank attacking anti-tank, then that anti-tank comes into play. If it's anti-tank on anti-tank, you can't do that. All right. If it's tank against a unit that has tank and anti-tank, you have to use the tank superiority value for the defender. All right. You cannot override it with the anti-tank. Let's see what else. Okay. This is like this game. It's a small footprint. It's one map. It's a beautiful map, by the way. Beautiful counters. Everybody knows that already. Not a whole lot of informational counters. All right. Starting on turn 2 in the campaign, the Americans start drawing a objectives chit, which I got them in a cup over there. The first one that's not a dummy, that becomes their primary objective for the game. So if you're playing 2-player, it's hidden. But then there's an option for the Axis player, I don't know if it's a die roll or something they got to do. They can pick one chit and examine it. So the American player would lay those chits out one each turn, face down. He will know which his objective is. But let's say 4 turns in, the German player wants to make sure, he wants to find out what the American's objective is because he's not showing him anything. There's a rule, I can't remember if it's a dice roll or something, it's like a 9 or a 10 you got to roll. He can go pick one chit and inspect it and see if he hits the right one. So obviously you probably pick the first one in the list because the first one the American draws that's not dummy is going to be their objective. And I think there's only 4. So, and then that's how you base what your victory conditions are going to be, what kind of victory points. What you have to take to get victory points is chosen by that victory objective mark you choose. And there's Aachen's an objective, Eschweiler's an objective. The Rohr River Dams is an objective, and the other one is I know you got Alsdorf. There's multiple on the map, but whichever one you choose will tell you how many victory points you're going to get for what you take. And then you get casualty victory points at the end of the game. The game's 8 turns. Each turn has 2 phases, an operations and an admin. Okay, we just did operations, which is the only phase you have for turn 1. I'm going to jump into game turn 2. The first thing I'm going to do is an admin phase, which I have not done yet. So I'm going to find out what that's like. But I think the flow of the game, it's awesome. I mean, for right now, I've only played 1 turn. And I've said, hour, so maybe a little over 2 hours, under 3 hours. And that was my first turn. And I'm still in the learning process. But here's the deal. I read those rules in one sitting. Got up and played the easy scenario where you don't have to think about everything, and then jumped right into the campaign game. And I'm telling you, I only looked at that rule book, I think, 3 times during this entire first turn. So the rules read very easy. We do have one question that one of my subscribers asked about, and Patrick, if you hear this, or somebody from VUCA that has the answer, if an attacker, it says in the rules that the defender executes their combat results first, and then pretty much the attacker repeats those steps. But if the attacker suffers a red 2 or more, and they roll for an efficiency check, and they disorder, does the attacker have to do a forced retreat? Because we were not able to determine that from the rules, because it says, I think in parentheses, that the defender, it varies with the defender. And then I assumed that when the attacker goes back, you change the word defender to attacker. But we still weren't sure, so I thought I'd ask if somebody gets that, let me know. All right, so here we go. Aachen, crossing the line, Aachen 1944 from VUCA Simulations. The guy sent me this, and I picked this one to play first because Ruff and Blue are playing Donnerschlag. I've also got Theseus, Operation Theseus, which is the same system, I believe, as this, so that might be the next thing you see out here on this table. All right, 1 turn, It's fun. The combat system is not that hard. There's only 4 things you're checking during combat for modifiers. Well, 5 if you count the multiplier, and then 4 things for die roll modifier, or 5 things for die roll modifier. I don't find it to be that tough. Action points, maybe if you have formation level of 7 and you're getting the max you can get is 7 action points. If you hit like a bunch of those in a row, yeah. But as the turn dwindles down, as the formation activations dwindle down, the turn starts to diminish faster and faster and faster, which to me makes perfect sense. All right, so here we go. We're going to close this out, get this up so y'all can see what the first turn of the campaign was like, and hopefully that'll provide you with some information on the play of the game and the rules of the game. I like it. Everybody knows that I find this game to be somewhere between SCS and the 7-inch games, somewhere between that level. Throw in a little bit of, I know there's a couple other games out there that use the combat strength markers underneath, but I'm enjoying this one here, I'll let you know, but right now it has that taste of being sliding into my top 5 play style type of games, of this type of game. So getting right up there, because Day of Days is my favorite for simple to play monster. This one could fall right in behind that, even though it's one map. All right, let's get this posted. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks for watching, gang.